You really can't make this stuff up. So we have here the MC3000 manual, and it's pretty funny. So it was written intentionally humorous, and I think it's pretty cool that they made it so funny. So I'm going to read some excerpts from it for you, and I'll show you some other things that I think are funny too, because like I think Japanese folks have a great sense of humor, and so I'm going to show you some like weird translations and weird cartoons and stuff like that, especially from Tamiya. So pretty cool. So first I'm going to talk about the MC3000, the SkyRC MC3000 manual. And SkyRC is a Chinese company, so they have some really weird translated manuals too, but I think this one was actually written with great intention. And it's hilarious because it is describing the MC3000 unit here, the SkyRC MC3000. So this is a battery charger. And as the manual will go on to say, battery charging is boring. But what they have to provide for you, for all the readers out there of this manual, if you decide to read the effing manual, is a very hilarious take on what charging is all about. And so here, you see here, this is a 4 battery charging unit. And it's rather huge. And there's a reason for why it's so big. There's a lot of good technology inside this unit. This is the king or queen of battery chargers. It's a really cool device, everybody. So I'm going to set this aside and we're going to read this manual. You'll see how funny it is. So it says right here, MC3000 instruction manual. And the introduction goes something like this. It says, "Welcome. Charging batteries is usually a primitive, boring task. Can't fool your friends. It still is. In fact, this charger merely knows 3 elementary routines: charge, discharge, rest. However, refining, combining, and repeating them in impressive cycles will make you feel dominant and superior. We hope that cooperating the device will bring, albeit unconsciously, some fun and satisfaction to an otherwise mundane activity, charging one's empty batteries. The MC3000 may be the most joyful, not-so-compact, 4-bay universal round battery charger in the world. Maybe." It actually says it, maybe. "The creation of this product didn't arise out of need, but from the desire to finally have a charger as versatile, accurate, and powerful as a SkyRC hobby charger, but tailored to a sweet battery tray for cylindrical single-cell batteries. No more hassle with battery holders, fiddly wiring, clamps, or similar DIY solutions. With the agreeable set of options per program, or by sequencing several such programs, the MC3000 is capable of mimicking virtually any operation mode recommended by leading battery manufacturers or employed by other commercial chargers." So there we go. So there, that gives you an idea of like how cool these people are. Like they're describing this, right? This is generally, they could have made this into a very boring manual for this thing, but they decided to add some levity to it, and that's really, really cool. So yeah, it goes on boring, 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 and boring, 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 and yeah, it's great that they added some fun into this whole thing. And there's lots of like screenshots of what each function does, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, the cool thing about this battery charger, the reason why I bought it is because it comes with this app, and the app runs on your iPhone and your Android device, and you could actually see all of the parameters. It communicates with this charger. There's a Bluetooth communicator right on here, right inside this thing, and so you use the app to control this from afar. It's pretty cool. And as one of my colleagues has said, he's a very famous racer named Shell Shock. He said, yeah, you can just basically like go to the bathroom and just program all your stuff, and your batteries will be charging while you're sitting in the bathroom and you're like reprogramming things. I'm like, that is so cool. I want that charger. So that's why I got that charger. One of the really cool things about this is you could set a specific voltage to charge to. So for example, some chargers, or most chargers, they will just charge to a maximum, and then once it reaches the peak, then it starts draining the battery. Here we have settings where you can basically charge to your specific peak. So let's say I wanted 1.44 volts instead of 1.5 plus volts. I can set it to 1.44 volts as a peak, and it stays there and it stops charging after that point. So cool. It doesn't like affect it in any way. It just keeps it at the 1.44. So cool. And I think that is very, very cool. And the fact that you can program different programs in each of these channels, each of these bays, is really, really cool. The fact that you can charge a lot of different battery types here is very, very cool. You can charge nickel metal hydride, nickel cadmium, lithium ion, other battery types as well. So cool. So yeah, and the wonderful thing about this, yeah, is that you could go through various options to set what batteries you have in each battery compartment, and you could decide to program something so you skip ones that you don't normally use. Very, very cool. So let's say I'm never going to charge nickel cadmium batteries or lithium ion batteries. I could get those to come off of the scroll list so that I only see the batteries that I actually do want to charge. That is so cool. Yeah, no other charger I know has something like that. That's really darn cool. Then we have Tamiya's wonderful instructions here on using circuits safely. And if you take a look at some of the pictures they have here, the diagrams, there are some really funny diagrams going on here. So let's take a look at what's going on with each of these little diagrams. It says right here, read and fully understand the instructions before commencing assembly, together with a supervising adult. Okay, sounds good. So here we have the adult here teaching the child how to do this. Very nice. And then it says here, assemble and place the track in a safe place, handle with care. And here we have these two kids kind of playing with these tracks, and one of them swinging the track over on his brother, let's say. He's like swinging the tracks around for whatever reason, and it's trying to tell you not to swing these tracks around because they can cause damage to the other person. Yeah, as you see here, he's going to like put his brother's eye out with this thing or something. That's not cool. So yeah, they have like these, it's a weird diagram, I think, to show something like that. And then it says here, keep out of reach of small children. Children must not be allowed to put any parts in their mouths or pull vinyl bags over their heads. So I'm going to say something right now that, let's take a look at some of these pieces here. I'm not sure what kind of kid would feel that this looks like a tasty treat. I'm sure there are kids who think that this might be a tasty treat, but I don't know. I don't see anything here that looks very tasty. So yeah, I don't understand that. To me, that's like, why would a kid do this? But yeah, I'm sure there are kids who do that. I'm sure there are kids that will eat things that they are not supposed to, swallow things that they're not supposed to, for whatever reason. And also this vinyl bag thing, I'm looking in here for examples of vinyl bags that you can actually pull over somebody's head. You get bags that are this small, right? That's not going to fit over a head. Well, what do we have here? The biggest bag in here? Oh, this might have been for, yeah, the plastic parts. I don't think you can put this over anybody's head. So I'm not sure what they were blabbing about there. I can't imagine, like maybe a little baby might fit that bag. I don't think so. So I'm not quite sure why they have that instruction there, but I think it's just a CYA kind of approach to this whole thing. So yeah, they just don't want little kids to be like somehow affected negatively by this hobby, because if kids are dying from this hobby, then they're not ever going to be, like, they're not going to grow up, become adults, and want to continue buying rock frames. Yeah, so let's go on and read the next one. It says here, cars may unforeseeably leave the circuit. Do not put your face too close to the circuit while the car is running. All right, let's take a look at this one here. What's going on here, right? So apparently this kid is getting a little too close to the track, and the car kind of ricochets off the track and almost hits him. Or maybe it did hit him, I don't know. It looks like he's hurting. So if you're a kid and you see imminent danger, wouldn't you try to avoid that at all costs? I'm kind of getting this a little bit, but not getting it also, because it's like it really kind of like messes with my mind a little bit that there are kids that would just stick their faces right there and the car would just crash right into their face. So I have a little bit of problem with that, a little bit of issue with that. I'm sure it happens, but it's like, yeah, don't do that. It's just not good. So then it says here, do not run over or around the circuit, as it would result in personal injury and or damage to the circuit. Okay, so here we have this kid, he's like tripping on something, and he might fall down on the track. Now, if any one of you has ever accidentally fallen on a piece of track or landed in the wrong way because you tripped on a track, it hurts a lot. And yeah, this is a legit one here, right here. Don't trip on tracks, don't fall down on tracks. It really hurts. You can scrape yourself up really badly. That being said, there needs to be something that could make this a little bit safer for kids so that they don't accidentally, and adults, because it's usually adults I see that accidentally like bump into tracks and scrape themselves and things like that. I rarely see kids like falling over tracks and getting hurt from tracks. So yeah, I think it's more of an adult thing. The last thing is clear away the circuit and tidy up the area after use. So perhaps the most informative and useful diagram here, it shows that this diligent child is actually placing these track parts back into the containers that they came in. Wow, that's pretty cool. So instead of just stacking them up and throwing them in the closet, this diagram actually purports to show you that, yes, these little cardboard pieces that your tracks were covered in are actually useful and should not be thrown out. That being said, sadly, when I got my tracks, the only way to fit them in my car was to actually throw away all the cardboard. So yeah, unfortunately, my hobby store that helped me get these tracks, they were basically removing all of the track parts and placing them in my car and disposing of the cardboard, unfortunately. And I kind of needed those cardboard pieces if I wanted to like store them long term. So yeah, now I'm left with a whole bunch of track pieces that I have to stack one on top of another and shove into a closet. So yeah, that's sad about that. So let's take a look at these instructions here. These instructions come with every kit. Yes, such as the mock frame. And here we have on one side, we have the Japanese instructions. And on the other side, we have the English instructions. Pretty darn cool. So here we have, it says here, the same stuff is here, read and understand the instructions, and don't let children near these items. And then we have here a very curious set of instructions. When starting a race, hold the model in the air and gently drop it onto the track. So let's take a look at what they're trying to say there. Okay, I'm going to swing this camera this way so you can see more. So, according to this, hold the model in the air and gently drop it onto the track. So they want people to drop a car like this. Nobody drops a car like that. So I remember seeing people like kind of shove their cars forward or finger roll their cars forward, and that supposedly gives them some sort of advantage. But really what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use like this pullback method, I call it. So when you're ready to drop the car, you lean it at an angle so that just the front part is touching the track and the wheels are spinning. And then when it's ready, set, go, when the event organizer says go, you let go. It's a tulip effect. You open up the fingers, and you pull your fingers back so that there's no chance of you shoving things forward. Okay, that's how you're supposed to drop a car. Not like this, but more like this. So I don't understand these instructions. I think somebody's got to rewrite the instructions here on how to drop a car, because that would elucidate a lot of things. So yes, very, very important, especially if you're giving this instruction sheet to everybody and his brother and sister, and they're supposed to read and understand these instructions. So turn off the switch and remove batteries from the model after use. Very useful tip, because if you leave the batteries in the car, let's say you've got old alkaline batteries and they're left in the car for too long, you will get potential battery acid leakage, and cleaning the contacts from this battery acid is sometimes a major activity, and it's not entirely straightforward and easy. So you're going to use lots of lemon juice, lots of alcohol, possibly baking soda with a toothbrush and vinegar, and you're going to try to scrub away the contacts so that you could at least get contacts that work with your batteries. So yeah, this is a very useful tip, removing the batteries if you're not racing your cars, especially for long-term storage of the cars. So very, very cool. So I remember some of the more humorous manuals. Back in the late 80s, I had these Japanese synthesizers made by Roland, and I remember one of the manuals actually said, press the key to emanate a joyous sound. And I was like, that is so weird. I wonder, like, how and why they chose those words to translate from Japanese to English. It's just so weird that they did that. And it's like, huh. Well, I guess that's how everything, like, strictly translated, right? So, joyous sound, why not? Pretty cool. So yeah, there's a lot of examples out there of manuals that are fun to read. There are manuals that are like, why do they translate things like that? And then there are just manuals that have instructions that make you go, huh? So you'll see a lot of that as you come across more and more foreign-made items with translated manuals. It's pretty darn funny. So yeah, everybody, if you like this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you. Bye.